Let's go right into our next part here, and I'm going to bring up Jennifer and Jennifer Staats, Alex Shakhov, who flew in all the way from Poland. That means he's a really, really, really smart. And Preston, Guyton, and we're going to have a little discussion about email. Wait, I came all the way here to discuss email. I want to demonstrate something to you too, because I talked about this earlier as we're getting this set up. Who received their email here already from Shannon? Anyone? Go and look. Yeah, you guys, they're in a different business. They're in a coaching business, and what happened today? They sent an email. Okay, and we're going to discuss that. So, Jennifer, where are you going to want to be? Well, you're the boss lady on this. Would you like this spot? Okay, I'll hang it over here. Cool. I'll take a bookend. Or, okay, you got that one? Cool. Everyone's mic'd up. You have a mic? Yep. Okay, good. We're good. Where's Alex?
All right, I'm here.
You want to go? Oh, good. Yep. Awesome. You're mic'd up.
Thank you.
Yes.
Ready?
It's all you. Let her rip.
So who here over the last 12 months has been struggling with their email deliverability, click rates, open rates, all of those things? Raise a hand. If you're not struggling or you haven't been thinking about it, you should. And we've got some pretty savvy email people up here. So guys, just a kind of a few questions. Email deliverability is a hot topic right now, especially over the last few months, I would say, as things change. What does email deliverability mean to you in context of our industry, and why is it so important for agents and companies?
John?
Sure. Well, I think it goes back to, and what was really neat, though, too, is you've heard it over and over and over again. You know, you heard it from, where did Greg end? Email, right? I'll give you some examples real quickly. There's a team, and I like to mention who they are so that you can follow them, because a lot of people throw stuff out there, and it's like, it's this mystery number in our industry, or this mystery, oh, these people did this. Well, who are they? Pericle, Better Homes and Gardens. Have been coaching with them for over a year. And for 4 months, it was just the managers, 4 managers over 50 agents, okay? And all we talk about, watch this, all we talk about for 20 minutes for 4 months, 16 calls, at 20-minute call, at $2,000 a call, okay? It's conversations, nothing else. We got conversations up. We moved that up. So I said, okay, let's transition now. We built the foundation, and now let's put up the frame. Go in and check in on emails, and I want you guys to too. Their agents averaged 1 email a month to their leads apiece. So I'll fast forward to what went down. For 6 weeks, what we did is I had the sales managers focus on, listen, the reality your agents are going to write the email is not. I want you to write that email and give it to your agents each week. And it can be, I mean, you guys, am I writing 2nd or 3rd grade emails to you? I mean, listen, sometimes I'll use a college word here or there, but they're just basic, okay? So real quickly, 6 weeks in a row, the agent sent an email and appointments elevated 40%. That's why it's important. You've got to have multiple forms of communication. And every time you consume something of mine, you've made a micro-commitment. We need people to make a series of micro-commitments.
Yeah, and one thing too, and Alex will talk on that a lot more, is email deliverability has changed. The requirements that are needed now, a lot of it they started rolling out the early part of this year. Things like DMARC and different things he'll talk on. You know, those are the things you have to have set up, and it's not very easy. Like, unless you have like a tech staff on your team, you need to talk to somebody like Alex and have them help you set those things up, because you get to be sending the greatest emails, and if they don't show up, if they're not delivered, it doesn't matter how good the content is. So those are the things that are important. There's a lot of things with email deliverability that you have to look at from, you know, when you look at like action plans that you get from somebody and 1,000 other people have the same action plan, well, if nobody's opening those emails, then it's going to hurt your deliverability over time. So those are things that people don't think about. Like a lot of times they don't even look at like are my emails even being opened? Is anybody reading these emails? And if you don't look at that information, then you're going to have your deliverability will just continue to go down. And a lot of that is like John talked about, the Girls with Grit talked about. Read what you're writing. Like, would you read, if somebody sent you that same email, would you actually read it? You know, is there any value in that email? And you'll have better conversations when you write good content. But when you're thinking about deliverability, and I'll let Alex go on that, there's a lot of things that you have to do that are technical now that you didn't have to do 2 or 3 years ago.
Yeah, so thank you for having me here, first of all. And also I want to mention that there are a lot of people, agents, they always say that email deliverability is something that is very, this too complex thing to manage. And honestly, it's not really the truth, because you only need to follow 2 simple rules. First rule is you have to make sure that you follow email deliverability best practices. So this is everything about your email content. It's your email subject line, email template, links, images in your email templates and stuff like that. And the second thing is your email server configuration. So it's important to have your email server properly configured with sending email infrastructure. And the question I currently have for you is, how do you think, how many of you have your own email server? All right. All right, so the truth is, as long as you own a domain name, your domain name has an email server. So if you purchase your domain name through GoDaddy or Namecheap or any other platform like Cloudflare, your domain control panel, your DNS zone is your email server. So this is actually the thing that you have to configure to ensure the proper email deliverability.
Everyone got that? So,
He's smart.
yeah, that's why we brought him here. So I want to dig into that a little bit, because I kind of want everyone to understand some of these things that we're talking about when we're talking about email deliverability. So we're listening to terms or hearing terms like SPF, DKIM, DMARC policies, and email deliverability. So could you break down each of these and why real estate businesses need them?
Absolutely.
That's his question.
Absolutely, that's one of my favorite questions. So actually, when it comes to email deliverability, as I already mentioned, you have to ensure your email server is properly configured with sending email infrastructure. And there are literally like 50 different policies and protocols that you can implement for better deliverability, for email encryption, for email security, and stuff like that. The 3 primary email security and deliverability email security protocols that are responsible for email deliverability are DKIM, SPF, and DMARC records. And I'm sure that many of you have heard a lot about these protocols and policies, but at the same time, I realize that not everyone completely understands what these protocols mean and why they are so important for email deliverability. This is why I have a very short story to share with you about what exactly it is and how DKIM, SPF, and DMARC work. So imagine that you're invited to a private party, and the nightclub is the incoming email server. It's an email server of your client, the gmail.com account, for example. And there is a bouncer at the entrance. The bouncer is the DMARC record. And the bouncer has 2 different conditions under which you'll be eligible to get in. The first condition is that you have a personal invitation to join this party. And the personal invitation is your DKIM signature. The second condition is that you arrived at the nightclub in the red BMW car with a plate number 1234. The car and the plate number are your standard policy framework, SPF record. If any of these conditions are met, you will be eligible to get in. And once you are inside, you will face a numerous security guards who will be checking you up and down like at airport security. They'll be checking your purse, your shoes, your wallets, your backpack, your pockets, and your personal belongings are your email deliverability best practices. Spam triggers, domain reputation, IP reputation, spam report complaints rate, attachments, and stuff like that. If they find too many spam triggers on your pockets, they will not allow you to get into the dance floor, and the dance floor is the inbox folder. And instead, they will send you directly into the bar. Then the bar is the junk folder. So this is why when it comes to email deliverability, it's super important not only to have your email server properly configured with sending email infrastructure, like your DNS zone of your domain name, but it's also important to follow all possible email deliverability best practices to ensure that your email templates, that your content, that your links, they do not trigger spam filters of the incoming email server.
Did y'all get all that?
Thank you.
My staff has homework to watch when we get these recordings. Holy moly.
You can just hire them.
Yeah, okay, I'll do that. Yeah, really good.
Anything else to add to that? No? Okay.
No, he's good.
Yeah, I'm not going to answer the macronyms. I mean, yeah, rock on, dude.
Oh my gosh. So what happens if a company neglects these policies? They instantly end up in people's junk, or are they getting bounced? Are there anything happening?
Thank you for asking. Yeah, so imagine that you're right now on the Metallica concert. And you're invited to a private party. So you go and jump on your Harley Davidson, and you go to the nightclub, and you try to find your personal invitation in your pockets, and you notice that you might have lost it in the mosh pit. So now, you don't have any kind of confirmation that you're the right person, that you're the person that's been invited to this party. As a result, you'll not be even eligible to get into the nightclub. So you'll receive a bounce back notification. Your email will be rejected by the incoming email server, so you'll not be even checked by security guards to have an attempt to join the inbox folder, just because you don't have the KIM, SPF, and DMARC implemented. So this is why, yeah, it's critical to have these protocols in place. And honestly, we have a new Google Yahoo regulation that took effect on February 1st. And in accordance with those regulations, it's mandatory for everyone to have KIM, SPF, and DMARC implemented in your email server. And if you don't have those policies in place, 20% of your emails are being rejected from the incoming email servers just because you cannot confirm that you're a legitimate sender, that you're a real person and not a scammer who just got access to your account and distributing phishing links from your domain name. So these policies are important. Make sense?
You want to add anything?
And by the way, you can't hire him. I'm first in line, so.
Okay, so how do you recommend agents or companies ensure that their emails get past spam filters? Are there specific authentication practices that stand out as most effective?
Yeah, so just make sure that you follow email deliverability best practices. For example, I hear very often from real estate agents that they say me, hey, we just created an email template in Canva, and we just added the template into our email system, and we're planning to send our emails. How would it work in terms of email deliverability? It wouldn't work at all. And the reason for that is because when scammers and threat actors are distributing phishing links, they normally hide the phishing links behind the images. So if you have too many images on your email templates, this will likely trigger spam filtering systems and security gateways on the incoming email servers, and your email will be either placed into the spam folder or completely rejected, so you'll receive a bounce back notification.
So we want to limit images and links.
Definitely.
Emails.
So plain text emails, these ones that are work the best.
So one of the things that Alex and I were talking about, I think we talked about it a couple times, is, you know, when so if your company, be careful with your agents, and something that I think a lot of companies might start doing in the future, should think about it, is your emails from your agents should potentially be from a separate domain than your main domain as a company. Because the ones that are the biggest ones that cause the issues, a lot of times are the agents. And they're not following the best practices on what the emails are sending. So if you're looking at, you know, your main company domain, you might want to think about starting to separate your agents from sending from a separate domain, because if the agents do something, it'll jeopardize your main domain, your sendability, and everything else. So it's, you know, that's something we discussed. And, you know, I think some people do like subdomains, and you said that that's not the best practice either.
Yeah, absolutely. So there is no specific and there is no right answer to this question. Basically, it's a good practice to set up a separate domain for email marketing emails. However, at the same time, you have to make sure that your company is big enough to be able to implement the secondary domain. Because if you only have, let's say, like 15 agents on the team, and if you have, let's say, mydomainname.com as a primary domain name, email domain name for your newsletters, and then you decide to implement mycompanyname.net, this can bring some kind of problems to your email deliverability, because if you communicate with someone using your primary email domain, which is .com, and then you suddenly start sending emails to that person from a separate domain name, which is very similar to yours, it can potentially trigger a spam filtering system, because today it's super easy to register a new domain for everyone. So you can just go to GoDaddy, you can purchase a domain name and start sending emails from that domain name. And the problem here is there are a lot of like scammers, threat actors who can easily get the domain like .net, .org, .co, .ca and start sending emails impersonating you and your team members. And this is why email security gateways and incoming email servers like Microsoft, Google, Apple, Yahoo, they know how to filter those types of emails, which looks suspicious for the incoming email server. So this way they can put your emails into the junk folder. But at the same time, if you have a large team, like let's say you have 200 or 100 different agents, it will be a very good practice for you to have a separate domain for email marketing newsletters for those agents. Because if they send emails from your primary domain name, there is a possibility that they will hurt the domain reputation for this primary domain, and very soon your emails will start going to a spam folder. So this is why you need to have a balance between the number of emails you send, what kind of emails your agents are allowed to send, and stuff like that.
You got anything, John? I want to share this, and this wasn't a question, but yesterday, and maybe because of all the things we're doing with Easy Home Search, we're starting to see more of it. But yesterday I was had a spam bomb attack?
Yeah, spam
Yeah,
bombing.
spam bomb attack to my email address. So what ended up happening, somebody went and registered my email address on 795 websites. Yesterday morning, so I got all these emails for newsletters and everything else, and luckily Alice was here, and I sent him a message, and like, please fix this. So, and you think about email security and all, so there's a lot more to it, than just setting up. But that was something that had never happened before, and it was every minute I was getting, you've been registered for this new newsletter, you've been registered on Hanky Panky, whatever the hell that is, all these different websites. I'm like, what the hell is going on? But luckily he was able to hop in there and get it fixed for me. So,
Yeah.
thank you for that.
My pleasure.
Yeah, it was interesting because it happened earlier this morning with a client, larger team, and when you talk about deliverability and open rates, the scientific, I've got people not quite as smart as this guy, but I don't want to minimize the brilliance of the people I have on my team that take care of that, and I really sit with the copy and opt-ins, and I stay in that place. Hook, story, close, my subject line, the aesthetic of that email so it gets consumed too, the way that you lay it out. But I had a firsthand experience when you talk about getting them delivered and getting them opened. They said, because what I'll do sometimes too is I'll break it down and say someone's not getting good open rates, and so okay, say send the same email, send it to 100 people. What we've had work really, really well, and well, I've got 10,000 people, it'll take forever. Well, it's kind of like what Greg said. That's that thing of, okay, avoid the work. Because here's what I've had happen. There may be some people in the room where I've said, they're getting really low open rates. And I said, okay, pick the email, send it to 100 people on Monday, 100 on Tuesday, 100 on Wednesday, 100 on Thursday, boom. For 7 days. We have 700 people that have done it, and what I've found is sending to smaller groups, you get better open rates. Then that next day 8, I have a second email. Okay, so an email for that week. And so I'll take 700 people, the ones that have received, right, or that we've sent to, and I'll stack 100 on top of it, so 800 go out on day 8, and then 100, 100, 100, right? And so we build that up. And there's some people nodding their heads. We've done that, and it's worked real well. Well, I've got a scenario where we're in that process right now. Email number 1 on Monday got a 7% open rate, sending to 100 people. And they're my emails that I write for them, and they get 50% open rates for the rest of my clients. So they just sent me today. Now we just got a 5% open rate, sending to 100. And I said, so how many of them are opted in? Write this down. Play with me. I want you guys to see this. Here's a target for me. I mean, if you can land in the 30% in email open rates over and over and over again, you're above standard, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So watch this math. Write down the number 100, okay? And they're getting, and then off to the side, I want you to write down 7% open rate. Okay. So now I want you to subtract 75 from that 100, because guess what? 75% of the people are not opted in. They just dumped them in the database. So now we've got 25 people in that database. I'm just using the 100. We've got 25 people in that database, okay, that are opted in. What's 30% of 25? 7. So I'm getting a 30% open rate on the 25 that are opted in. 75% of you guys, don't just dump people into your database. You've got to get them to opt in. And then would you say, what's your experience been? I mean, you're the pro on this. It's stuff that I was learned, Alex. And hit them as much as you can up front in that first week so that they're receiving lots of emails, so the ESPs see that okay, great, they're opening emails from you. Do you think it's important for them to get a lot of emails once they opt in, or do you think that's irrelevant?
Say it again.
So say when someone opts in, okay, great, they've opted into my email list. Is it important in that first week that you hit them with a lot of emails that are responses, that are value-based, so that the email service providers see not only they opted in, but also that they are opening your emails too, and they're more likely to open in those first 7 days?
Yes, definitely. So it's very important for you to engage as many times as possible within the first 7 days period, because this will increase your chances to get in touch with that person. At the same time, you have to keep in mind that people, they don't want to receive too many emails from you. So you don't have to send 5 or even 2 emails every day, but just one email per day with a follow-up will be well enough.
I'm a little aggressive.
Well,
I think that's
it depends. It depends on the strategy. It depends on your target audience.